Imagine opening your bank app right now and seeing an extra $15,000 sitting there. Not because you inherited it. Not because you won it. Not because someone gave it to you. Because you saved it. A real $15,000. For some of you watching, that number sounds completely doable. For others, it sounds impossible. But here's what's fascinating. The people who eventually build wealth aren't necessarily the people who earn the most money. Which means making more money won't fix your financial problems. I know how that sounds. If money is the problem, more money should be the solution. Yet every year, millions of people earn more than they've ever earned in their lives, and somehow still feel broke. Income goes up. Lifestyle goes up. Stress stays exactly the same. And that's exactly what happened to two guys who used to earn almost the same salary. Today, their financial lives don't even look like they belong to the same universe. My name is Vince, and I spend way too much time thinking about personal finance. If you're someone who wants to stop feeling stuck financially and start building real wealth, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing. The people who eventually build wealth aren't necessarily the people who earn the most. I know that sounds ridiculous. If money is the problem, more money should be the solution, right? Yet every year, millions of people earn more than they've ever earned in their lives, and they still feel broke. Income goes up. Lifestyle goes up. Stress stays exactly the same. That's what happened to me and a guy I used to work with named Michael. 5 years ago, we earned almost identical salaries. Same city. Same age. Neither of us had rich parents or some secret trust fund waiting in the wings. Today, our financial lives don't even look like they belong to the same universe. And the difference didn't start with a raise, a windfall, or some genius investment. It started with a number most people completely underestimate. $15,000. Let's be honest about something uncomfortable first. For a lot of people, saving $15,000 feels harder than earning $15,000. And that's strange, because over the next few years, most of us will earn far more than that. We just won't ever have it sitting in an account at the same time. Why? Because earning money and keeping money are two completely different skills. Think about how we're raised. Study hard. Get good grades. Get a job. Work harder. Earn more. Nobody ever sits us down and teaches us how to keep what we make. So we get stuck in a loop. Paycheck hits. Relief. A promise that this month will be different. Then life happens. A repair. A birthday. A wedding. A surprise bill. And the money disappears again. Then another paycheck. Same loop, different month. Here's what most people don't realize. The real problem usually isn't income. It's the absence of a gap. The space between what comes in and what goes out. Because wealth isn't built when money shows up. It's built in that gap, in what survives after everything else takes its bite. And 5 years ago, Michael and I were both living without one. We made almost the same moves early on. Worked hard. Chased promotions. Looked for ways to push our income higher. But over time, one small difference started pulling us apart. And at the time, neither of us even noticed it happening. Every time Michael got a raise, his lifestyle quietly leveled up with it. Nothing crazy. A nicer apartment. A newer car. A few more nights out. More subscriptions. More convenience. Every bit of extra income found a new home before it ever had a chance to sit still. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the sneakiest traps in personal finance, because none of it feels reckless in the moment. It feels earned. It feels deserved. I made a decision that, honestly, felt boring at the time. Instead of upgrading every time my income went up, I focused on one goal. Hit $15,000 saved. Not $1 million. Not early retirement. Just $15,000. Now, you might be thinking, that's not exactly an inspiring goal. And at first, it wasn't. The first few $100s changed nothing about my life. The first 1,000 changed nothing. Even after a few $1,000s, everything looked exactly the same on the outside. This is where most people quit. Not because the plan failed, but because nothing visible happened fast enough. Here's the psychology behind that, and it explains so much about why saving feels so hard. Humans are wired for instant gratification. When you buy something, the reward is immediate. You feel it the second you swipe the card. When you save money, you usually feel nothing at all. The reward is delayed, sometimes by years. Present bias is the term for this. Our brains consistently overvalue rewards right now and undervalue rewards later, even when the later reward is objectively bigger. Michael wasn't undisciplined. He was responding exactly how most brains are built to respond. I just happened to delay the reward longer than he did, and that delay is where everything changed. Let's talk numbers for a second, because this is where it gets interesting. Say you save $10 a day. That's $300 a month, roughly $3,650 a year. At that pace, $15,000 takes a little over 4 years. Slow, right? But bump it to $30 a day, about $900 a month, and you're there in under a year and a half. Same habit, different intensity. This is why so many financial experts, including data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, point out that nearly 4 in 10 Americans say they couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash. Not because they're lazy, because they never built the gap. Michael rewarded himself immediately, every single time. I delayed it. And over time, that delay created something I didn't fully understand yet. A growing space between what I earned and what I spent. That space became the foundation of everything that came after. Now here's a surprising insight that completely changed how I looked at money. $15,000 isn't actually a life-changing amount. It won't make you rich. It won't let you retire. It won't fix every problem you have. But it changes something far more important than your bank balance. It changes how you think. For the first time, a car repair stopped feeling like an emergency. It became an inconvenience. A medical bill became manageable instead of devastating. A setback no longer wiped out months of progress in a single afternoon. And maybe most importantly, opportunities started showing up that I genuinely couldn't see before. Investments require money. Business ideas require money. Career pivots require money. Without savings, every opportunity looks like a risk you can't afford to take. With even a modest cushion, some of those same opportunities suddenly look possible. That's the real discovery. My first $15,000 changed my mindset far more than it changed my bank account. But I have to be honest about the part nobody talks about. Getting there wasn't a straight line. There was a year I dipped into that fund for something I told myself was an emergency and wasn't really. There was a stretch where I watched friends post vacation photos and felt that familiar pull of social comparison. That quiet voice asking why I was the one saying no to things while everyone else seemed to be living. Status signaling is powerful. We don't just want nice things. We want other people to see that we have them. Resisting that isn't a one-time decision. It's a decision you make over and over, sometimes daily. Here's what surprised me once I actually crossed that $15,000 line. Saving got easier. Not because I suddenly developed superhuman discipline. Because I had momentum. It's the same reason a heavy car is hardest to move in the first few feet. Once the wheels are turning, it takes far less force to keep them moving. The habits were already built. The systems were already in place. The identity was already formed. I wasn't trying to save money anymore. I had become someone who saves money. That shift, from action to identity, is one of the most underrated tools in behavioral psychology. You don't just build the habit. The habit builds you. Meanwhile, Michael was still facing the exact same struggles he had years earlier. Not because he wasn't smart. Not because he wasn't working hard. He was doing both of those things consistently. But he never built the second skill. He mastered earning. I had stumbled into keeping. And those two skills, despite both ending in the word money, have almost nothing in common. I know what some people will say here. That sounds great in theory, but I genuinely don't have anything left over to save. And I'm not going to pretend that's never true. But for a lot of us, the gap isn't missing because of income. It's missing because of automatic decisions we've never actually looked at. So here's something practical you can do this week. Pull up your last 2 months of spending and circle anything that happened automatically. Subscriptions you forgot about, food delivery fees that quietly stack up, impulse buys triggered by a notification. You're not looking for guilt. You're looking for your gap. Then automate the opposite habit. Set up an automatic transfer the same day you get paid, even if it's $20 to start, into an account you don't see often. This matters more than the amount. It removes the decision entirely, which matters because every financial choice you have to actively make is one more chance for present bias to win. Pay yourself before your brain gets a vote. 5 years ago, Michael and I earned roughly the same income. Today, we live in completely different financial realities. Not because one of us got lucky. Not because one of us found some secret investment the other missed. The difference came down to one simple, almost unglamorous skill. The ability to keep money. That's why your first $15,000 matters so much. Not because the number itself is impressive. Because becoming the kind of person who can reach it changes who you are. The investing comes later. The bigger numbers come later. Real financial freedom comes later. But first, you have to cross a threshold most people never even attempt, because they're waiting for it to feel exciting before they start. Your first $15,000 isn't really money. It's proof. Proof that you can spend less than you earn. Proof that you have discipline you maybe didn't know you had. Proof that you're finally steering your financial future instead of reacting to it. And that proof might end up being the most valuable thing you ever own. If this hit home for you, subscribe,